Episode number 15, 1-5. Woo, we got there. I don't know how we did it. I was thinking about it this weekend. Where did 15 weeks go? Is that how fast this year is going? It's unbelievable. But I'm excited because episode number 15 is a little special because we are focusing on a really interesting article slash questionnaire slash survey kind of thing on Wall Street Journal, where they talk about 5 different questions you should ask yourself to become better at making financial decisions. And I really appreciate that. I think it's a really interesting topic. But what I did was I broke out the different topics she kind of touches on, the author, and we go through it. And a lot of them are really sophisticated ways of getting your baseline back in order. But it doesn't feel elementary. It feels like a sophisticated way of looking at, you've done the emergency fund, you've done that. Now what do we do? This is what we do. So I love it. I thought it was great topics to discuss. And of course, we do it getting ready with makeup. I have the Lumi Matte Maybelline foundation on. I have the Rare Beauty Matte Bouncy Blush on my cheeks. This is Thriving, very potent. Do not use too much of it. I have the Kosis pressed powder in Feathery. I have the Laura Mercier Duo bronzer that just kind of gives a nice little sheen to it. I have some Charlotte Tilbury. I have some Milani. I have some e.l.f. I have some Revy Beauty. And on my eyes today is I Need a Nude by Natasha Denona. Now, I heard a lot of hype about this, and I thought it's an eyeshadow palette. Like, it's beautiful. I love this eyeshadow palette. So we go into that as well. And I smell like marshmallows from the perfume that I use, that you'll have to watch the episode to see what I used. Do it all, drinking some iced coffee, and just getting ready together. So if that sounds good to you, episode 15 is for you, and let's get into it. Good morning. Hope you are doing well. I'm dragging a bit today, so I have some iced coffee to get me through. It is Monday. I did relax this weekend, and yet I'm still tired. I don't know. Anyhow, but you probably feel like that too sometimes, but I don't know why. It's just a nervous ball of energy this weekend. I relaxed, but it didn't seem to take. So I guess, I think it is, my husband and I were talking, we haven't gone on a vacation for over a year now. And just due to different circumstances and stuff. And I think it is time for a vacation for both of us. I think both of us are just exhausted. And sometimes, the grind, like even if you try to do work-life balance and all that stuff, sometimes you just need that like week-long disengagement, So I was talking to a client about that the other day. And so anyhow, that's the way I feel like is going on. But I've got some nice makeup here, as you heard from the promo before, what kind of makeup we have. I'm excited to use it. And we've got a really interesting topic today. So I saw this article from Wall Street Journal by Ann Turgensen, and it's 5 questions to help you make better financial decisions. And and it's actually questions. These are not the questions. These are mainly topics or questions based off of the topics that she highlights. But she says, it's stuff like, if you have this amount in credit card debt and this amount in your mortgage and this amount, where should you put your money? Now, I am going to say that I don't necessarily agree with all of her answers, but that's okay. Finance, people think finance is this like rules, like there's certain rules you have to do. And there is nuance. I mean, should you save? Yes. Where should you save? That's different for everybody. Things like that. But I liked her topics that she was bringing up. I thought they were interesting. And I like the title, 5 questions to help you make better financial decisions. I think that is what everybody is looking for, is how do I make better financial decisions? So today we're going to go through all 5 of the topics. I will give you my thought on them, and we'll talk about that and do our makeup. Sound good? Sound like every other week, but I love it. I think it's fun. I always, this part of my Monday because, you get emails over the weekend, you get all that stuff. And it's just kind of nice to take this moment once I've gotten all the urgent stuff done to sit and relax a little bit. And it's a nice way to start my week. So I have been enjoying it. Thank you for all of those who are out there watching. It's fun. So, okay, that coffee is going to be gone by the end of this, I'm sure. Okay, I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to start with this Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smoothing Blur Drops. I don't know if this is supposed to be a primer, but I have been using it as a primer and I enjoy it just in the T-zone. So I'm just going to take a little bit here, some kind of milky consistency, and just put it in the T-zone area because this foundation I'm going to use doesn't really need like a grippy primer. Plus I got a long wearing setting spray, so I didn't think I needed that, but I'm particularly red today, so I thought it might be good to get some BHA pore smoothing on. So I'll put that over there. And then we'll get started with foundation first. So I'm going to use the Maybelline Superstay foundation. This is the Lumi Matte foundation. And this is a really nice long wear foundation. I've actually worn it going to Jamaica, of all things. We were traveling, we were working that day and then leaving that night to Jamaica. So I just had my makeup still on from the day. And I'm sure that that's horrible for my skin and my pores and everything. Although when you're going to Jamaica, it's nice, humid and hot. So then your skin gets really nice looking for a bit. And then it gets really acne ridden after a while. Also, mosquitoes bite the crud out of me, which they are already doing. We had some monsoons up here in northern Arizona, and it was lovely, but it's mosquito season again. So it doesn't matter how much stuff I put on, they find that one area that I didn't put any insect repellent on and they bite me. So it just is what it is. But enough of that. Let's get started on our first. Let me get this going first. And then, and this is in 120 if you're my shade match, which I have decided or realized that a lot of people are my shade match. I'm kind of surprised at how many people are my shade match. So I'm going to take the BK Beauty and Nikola Rose N17 brush here and get that on. But we are going to go on vacation soon-ish in the next couple months, so that will be lovely. I'm very much excited about that. And once I come back, I will tell you where we went and if I enjoyed it and if I recommend it or not. So, okay. Let me get this on really quick and then I will get started with the first topic. It's a really nice like medium coverage if you haven't used this foundation. And I'm going to just take a little bit of setting spray. This is the Pat McGrath Longwear Blurring Setting Spray. And I just use that to moisten up. Apparently people hate that word. I don't have a problem with that, but just kind of push it into the skin a bit. Okay, perfect. All right. So the first question or the first topic she talks about, I would say, like I said, her question, these are not her questions, but question number one was based on, am I capturing my full employer match? Now, I will say something that's a little controversial. Not everybody needs to contribute to their 401k and take the full match. I have found many people that don't take advantage of that. And it works for what their plan is. Some people do not want to contribute to their 401k for X, Y, Z number of reasons, and that's okay. But, so they're not taking advantage of the match. However, if you are contributing to your 401k and that is what fits in your plan, you should probably go up to the match if you can. The match typically is anywhere from 4 to 6%, is what I've seen as a range for 401ks. So the first 4 or 6% that you put in is going to be matched, which is nice. And that can result in a couple $1,000s a year for some people. So this is not chump change. This is a nice amount. And here's what I think, they say mathematically 100% match is 100% immediate return on your investment, which is kind of true. So, going up to the match is an indication of that you're paying attention to your accounts, I think, more than anything. When people don't know if they're at least going up to the match, that means that they haven't looked at their accounts for a while. They have no idea what their benefits are. They have no idea what is being offered, if they're taking advantage of it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to eyes. This is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, and this is the palette. So pretty. So I'm probably going to stick to kind of these more neutral shades. Maybe I'll put a little pink in, but it's very pretty. It's a newer palette for me. So what do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to take the Morphe, one of these butter brushes that they had out, M333.5. This is their travel size, so that's why it's 0.5 and it looks tiny, but it's a nice brush. So I'm going to take this shade here, which is Stone, and then I'll probably put in some of this pink Wilt in as well. And maybe this mesh, maybe I'll do the Stone and mesh. So this is mesh and Stone. Maybe I'll put those together. So I would say that for a lot of people, if you're not sure if you've gone up to the company match, that means that you are not paying enough attention to your account. And I don't think people should go in every day. I'm obviously not an advocate, if you've been here long enough, of day trading. Oh, there's lightning. Monsoons in Arizona. When we moved here, we had no idea that happened during the summertime. We moved here in July that year in 2021. And my God, I was like, why is it raining so much here? And you might hear the thunder, you might not. But it's, I love it. It brings the temperature down, other than the mosquitoes biting me, which is fine. It is what it is. And then I'm going to take this 204 BK Beauty brush. You can kind of see here what it looks like. And I'm going to go in to this Tender, I think that's what it says. Yeah, Tender brown here, and kind of take it on the side here. Kind of build out the edge here. But so you should always be aware of what's going on with your benefits. It is a big part of my review process with new clients. If we're doing planning, is reviewing their benefits, so they have an idea of what is even available and what they're not taking advantage of on their own. Because oftentimes we get stuck in a rut with our benefits in terms of we just kind of keep doing the same thing that we've been doing forever. And that might not fit anymore. Maybe you've gotten married. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you should take advantage of the HSA plan. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it doesn't fit for you still. But those are the conversations you should be having with yourself every time open enrollment happens. because it's so easy nowadays. They always just have, I don't have open enrollment because I own my own business. It's just me, but my husband does, and every time it just kind of autofills what we had before. Now, luckily, my husband is not the type just to say okay to that, but it is important to really take a look at that kind of stuff. And I'm going to go in with, how deep do I want to go on this? I think I'm going to go in with this silhouette, this darker one, and see how this goes. This is the 209 BK Beauty. Oh, that's really dark. Well, I got my definition. We'll see how I blend it out. Okay. Go back in and blend this a lot. So, when I go back in and blend, I don't have anything else on here. I might pick up some in a second, but I don't want to necessarily deposit more color. I just want the colors to blend better. So I would say that is the crux to that first one, is that do you have to go up to company match? No, for a lot of people it works, but not everybody is at the right move. I'm going to go in with this Vague. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Vague up here. These are weird names for, I guess I've never looked at them, the names before. Just put a little bit up here to kind of even everything out. Okay, I'm liking the way that looks. And then I'm going to go in with my finger and go in with Mia, just this one here. And just kind of put that on the center right there. I saw Natasha Denona use this Mia color. I think it's in one of her like 2 eyeshadow packs. And I saw her in one of her, I think it was one of her ads, but something on Instagram. Use it. Oh gosh, so pretty. She is amazing to watch. I mean, I probably wouldn't do a lot of the looks that she does, but my gosh, she's an amazing artist. So anyhow, very pretty palette. Really pretty. Glad I got it. And I got it on sale. They have a good program. A lot of these companies like Natasha Denona, Danessa Myricks, they have really good online programs with points and stuff like that. Of course, it's encouraging you to buy more, but I do appreciate that they're, doing that. So I was able to get, not only was that on a discount with the I Need a Warm palette, like I think it was a 20% discount, but I was also able to use my points on top of it to bring it down even more, which I really appreciate. I will always say good things about that company because of that. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with this Julep Beauty When Pencil Met Gel in Smoky Taupe Shimmer. This is kind of a purpley brown color that is just gorgeous, and it's a really easy liner to work with. So let's take a little bit above here. As you know, this is the 15th episode, so you know I can't do this and talk at the same time. So just kind of wing it out a little bit. And we're good. Okay, excellent. I'll use this in a bit too under. I might as well just do it now. So these ones I have found are really nice. They don't create such a harsh line that I feel like I have to put it on my hand first. So I can run it under here just to bring a little dimension to the eye. Definition, I guess the word is definition I'm trying to find. And it's not harsh, so it's so nice. It's a really beautiful color. And it's a nice formula too. And I think I've noted this before, but I really like the name. When Pencil Met Gel, I think that's so cute. I just think that's really clever. Good job, Julep. So, all right, so let's move on to, so pay attention to your benefits, look at your accounts, and not everybody should go up to the match. If you're unsure, you probably should reach out to a financial advisor, and you can hire people just on a project base so we can do an analysis on that if you do not want somebody to, to hire somebody full time, just so you know. So I'm using in the bottom waterline the Sephora 12-hour eye pencil in coconut. You've seen me use that a million times, I believe. Not a million because it's only 15th, but all right. So let's take a look at question number 2. Do I have high interest debt holding me back? So once you've looked at, your match and all that kind of stuff, the second thing is high interest debt. How much do I have? What is it? How can I take care of it? So this is like credit card balance or personal rates on personal loans. I'm not talking about your house. I mean, you might not like paying 5 or 6% if you bought a house recently, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 18, 20%. And so the best thing to do, debt is an anchor to your financial freedom journey. It is. I would even say house debt sometimes, depending on what kind of house debt it is and what you got in terms of, mortgage and payment plan and all that stuff. So, you want to think about your debt and how to tackle it. There's 2 methods to deal with debt. One way is what they call, I might be getting these confused. Okay, I won't name them. I'll put them on the screen what the name is because I'll get them confused. One way to do it is to look at all your credit cards, take the one with the highest interest. Let's say you have 3 credit cards that you have debt on. Just going to use that as an example. But you can do this with all your debt. You can take credit cards and personal loan, and student loans a little different. That one you tackle separately. That is always to be tackled, okay? Because also most of them aren't super high interest, but they're still a weight on your financial freedom. So keep that in mind. But let's say you take out your credit card, personal loan debt, any kind of debt with high interest rate, 10% or more on it. No, I would say 15% or more on it. No, 10% or more on it. And then you lay them out and you go, okay, this one has the highest amount of debt. So this is the one I'm going to pay off first. Then I'm going to go to the second highest, and then I'm going to go to the third highest. So that's one way of paying off debt. Another is to take all of them and take a look at the balances and say, this one only has $400 on it. So I am going to pay this one off first and then move up the line. I don't really have a preference on which way you do it. It's not like I've seen one way work better than another way. I think the thing is you have to have a strategy of how you're going to get rid of it and just keep that ball moving. And that's the idea with both of those, is how do you keep the ball kind of moving down the line. Okay, I'm going to go to, I did eyeliner, so I'm going to go to mascara. This is the new Maybelline Sky Tubes, and this is their tubing mascara. I have been enjoying it. I'm going to let it sit for a second. And then I'll do brows when I let that sit there for a second. I'm going to go in with Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. So you do have to, if you're going to make better financial decisions, you have to be conscious and aware of, and this is in 6, sorry. You do have to be conscious and aware of, actually, I wanted to do the brow gel first, because I don't like doing the pencil first, and then the gel, because then the gel gets gunky, especially when it's clear gel. This is the e.l.f. Brow Lamination Gel, and it looks intimidating because it looks like it's, white, but it actually does go on clear, so. But So I would say, you do want to have a strategy and stick with it. Don't let somebody say, no, you should have done it, where you're paying off the lowest balance first. No, you should have done it this way or that way or the other way. You do it how it works for you. What's going to make you successful? And that's what I think you focus on. So, okay. Perfect. Now I'm going to go in with the pencil. Like I said, I just don't like getting the gel all gunky. I'm sure it's fine. It just looks, ugh. I don't like it. All right. So then it looks dirty, not just ugh. It looks dirty. So I'm going to go in with this and just fill in some gaps here. So, you do have to be conscious of what your debt looks like and, hopefully at some point you will be able to pay off your credit cards without putting, just every month. If I meet a client who has credit card debt, we tackle them. But a lot of times, not a lot of times, but some clients are like, well, here I have this much on this credit card and this much on this. And I said, okay, do you pay these off every month? Yes. Then I don't consider this the same thing. It's not the same kind of debt. But you do want to pay attention to debt, including mortgage. So, okay. Excellent. Now I've got my mascara, which I totally bonk this over. Here's the wand. I think this is just in black. I don't think if there's a color on here, I did not notice it. So I'm just going to go in with black and I'm going to curl my lashes afterwards. You might have seen that. I saw the flash of lightning happen, so you might have seen it on the screen. Awesome. Okay, actually, while we're doing that, let me read the next topic here. What is the interest rate spread on my low interest debt? So, okay, so we dealt with high interest, which is like credit card, personal loans. Now you're going to take a look at your low interest debt, like student loans, mortgage, that kind of stuff. You're going to take a look and see what the spread is on that as well. And really, all of these are just about being aware and conscious of what your debt looks like and what the loans look like. Most people, if you ask them, what kind of interest rate do you have on your student loans? They have no idea. People do tend to, I will give people credit. People do tend to know what their mortgage rate is. At least they did, particularly in 2000, after 2009, 10, when they went down so much, people were very excited about a 2.5% mortgage. So oftentimes they knew and were very proud about the mortgage loan that they had and the interest rate. However, you do want to take a look at your lower interest debt, and take a look at what the spread is there and see where to tackle. Because oftentimes I will have people who are obsessed with paying their house down, which is, I get it. Understand why people want to not have a mortgage. It's nice and it takes that load off your shoulders of knowing you have this high mortgage payment you have to make every month. However, if you have student loans, maybe paying more into your mortgage doesn't make sense, or maybe doing both makes more sense. It doesn't mean you have to focus on one or the other. Obviously, your mortgage, you're going to pay your minimum payment, so is your student loans as well. But what's the mathematical spread between my debt interest rate and my expected investment return is another way to look at it. So many people have a theory that you should, instead of just making more payments to a credit card, to your mortgage, or to your student loans, they say you should invest it, get a better rate of return, and then pay it off that way by having your money make money. I have seen that work successfully. I've seen it not work successfully as well. So you have to be a certain type of person. You have to understand the tax implementation, or that's not the word, implementation, tax implications. Is that the word I'm trying to find? That's not the word I'm trying to find. Tax ramifications. We'll just say that. That might have been the word I was trying to find. But if you invest, you cannot invest it in a Roth, in an IRA, in your 401k, and then pay it back. Okay, that's one, because those all have 59.5 rules. They have tax consequences if you take it out before 59.5. All that stuff. With a Roth, you have to keep it in for 5 years before it will even be tax-free. It's a whole thing. Don't put money into those kind of accounts in order to pay off something in the next couple of years, or even the next 10 years, especially if you're like 30 or 35. But so you would most likely be putting it into a brokerage account. It's either an individual account, a joint account with you and your spouse, or a trust account if it's held in the name of the trust. All three are the same. They're just owned by different entities, right? And yourself, you and your spouse, or your trust. So you would invest in there. But here's the but. You have to hold that money in there for at least a year and a day. Otherwise, it's any kind of growth in there that you take out is going to be added to income tax. Now, I will say that income tax is a lot higher probably than your mortgage or even your student loan. So any growth on that, let's say you put in $1,000 and you're pulling out $3,000 within that, year. So under that year and a day, you're going to be paying 24% on the 2,000 growth, which is a fantastic rate of return, by the way, but then the 2,000 growth. Is that really better than just paying extra payments? Or, maybe putting it in something like a high yield savings account that has a much lower interest rate and growth rate? I don't know. Then after a year and a day, it goes to capital gains. Now, if you make, I think it's like 45,000. Don't quote me on that. I will put it on the screen though, what it is. But at a certain income level, you pay zero growth on that. But most people are going to pay 15% on capital gains, which is that growth. So let's say you've held it a year and 6 months, and it's gone from 1,000 to 3,000. That 2,000 is going to get capital gains tax, which is 15%. And this, I'm talking about federal stuff. Local and statewide, you're going to have to take a look at it differently. But because they have their own taxes and their own way that they handle capital gains tax. However, I don't think it's worth it, to be frank. I mean, I've seen it work for people, but the tax to me just outweighs any kind of benefit you're getting from investing it. I don't think that makes sense unless if you're going to hold it for 10, 15 years and then do a big chunk payoff, that might make sense. But most people aren't trying to do that. They're trying to do it in 1 to 2 year stints. And I just don't think that makes a ton of sense to do. So, okay, did all that. Okay. All right. So, I didn't bring a primer for my eyes. Oh, well, I already have my eyeshadow on, so why would I prime my eyes, Lisa? Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next topic, and then I'll get on to concealer. Am I fully utilizing my tax advantage buckets? Okay. So we kind of already talked about, you're not going to put anything that you use I'm going to use this Elf Soft Glam one, but I'm going to start with putting Dalba Multi Balm under my eyes and letting it soak in for a second. And put that in. Okay. So what is a tax advantaged account? It really depends on who you're talking to, but most of the time, a tax advantaged account is a Roth or an HSA account for health. And those can be invested. They're not always, but they can be invested. Some people would say, a 529 plan, which is a college plan, is a tax advantage account. I would say even a basic brokerage, the individual joint account and trust account, that can be considered a tax advantage account if you're using it for retirement, because paying 15% versus 24%, where most people are federally, can be advantaged for sure. You're definitely going to be paying, and you have all your base money that you don't pay tax on because you've already paid tax on it. So I consider that a tax advantage account. Some people in this industry would disagree with me on that. But have you looked into a Roth? Have you looked into the HSA accounts? Have you looked into a brokerage account? What does your makeup of your income in retirement look like? Is it all coming from things that you have saved on taxes now and will be paying tax on when you pull it out? Or do you have a nice mixture? I think it is, for most people, of course, this never everybody, but for most people, it should be a mixture. So of tax advantaged and pre-tax. So this is the Soft Glam concealer that they came out with, Elf. This is in 11 Fair Neutral. And that's the color on it. I'm going to take a little bit just down here. And I'm going to use this Hourglass double-sided brush, I guess is the word I'm trying to find, and just pat that in. So I think a mixture is a good idea, but most people, because they're just continually investing in their 401k, that is all they have is the tax deferred accounts where you're going to have to pay tax later. And because it's nice now, people do that. I mean, it's nice not having to pay tax right now, but it's not necessarily the best makeup to have. I just took the little bit that's on my hand and put a little bit under here. It's not necessarily the best makeup of good financial planning for the income in retirement. Having a mixture is always helpful. And then I'm going to take this Kosis eye brightener in Magic. This is their pink one, like that. And I'm going to take that, put it on the brush, just put it under here in my problem area. Just brighten things up a little bit, because I believe that Elf one is pretty matte. So I just like having a little brightener on top. Great. And then I'm going to take the Kosis Cloud Set powder, the pressed powder in Feathery. That's what it looks like. Get it on the brush here. Take my setting spray, spray it a little bit here. Just get it on the T-zone here. But so really consider the makeup of your investments in terms of how it will be taxed in retirement, and don't just focus on the way it's taxed right now. That is the bottom line on that one. Okay. And question number 5, does this decision actively fund my current life equity, or am I suffering from someday sickness? So I don't remember exactly what her question was. Obviously, this wasn't the question, but when you're making a decision on what to pay off first, or what the thing is that you should utilize, I better get going here. I'm done with the questions. I'm not done with the makeup. I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer in, I think this is medium, and just kind of give my complexion some color again. And, you really do have to make decisions like that. How is this helping me in my financial freedom journey? And sometimes it's not going to help. Sometimes it's going to take you back. But sometimes, things that people consider are taking them back is actually moving them forward, because they are setting that boundary. They are setting that framework for themselves, which is really important. So when you're looking at your planning, it's complicated. I don't know how to put it any other way, but it is complicated in how you organize everything. I'm going to take the Natasha Denona Hygiene Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier, I think it says. This is it. It is just a pretty golden hue to it. I don't know if you can even see that, or there it is. That's better. Such a pretty color. And I'm just going to take my concealer side, dab that on just on the high points of my cheek. I don't find that this one emphasizes texture at all, which is really nice. Okay, that's all I wanted to add. Then I'm going to go in with, I'm going to do the blush first. So, like I said, anytime you're making a financial decision, being aware, all that stuff like figuring out what your interest loans are on the big interest loan debt versus the small, lining things up, looking at your match, looking at your benefits, taking a look at how your buckets are all set up. Those are all your groundwork for you being able to push forward and make those bigger decisions. Do we buy an income property? Do we buy something else? So this is the Rare Beauty matte bouncy blush in Thriving. This is very pigmented, so I just take a little tiny bit and build up from there, because it is super pigmented. It's very pretty, but my gosh. I'm just taking the back of the Nikola Rose N17 brush and just going to build it up. It is just super pigmented. All right, I'll add some in a bit. Then I'm going to go in with the Laura Mercier Duo bronzer that they have here, and just kind of swipe that on my high points here. But you do want to think that way. You want to get your groundwork done first, which is, all those things that those other questions talked about. And then you can build from there. And that's really the best way to do it. And by building that groundwork, you will be able to make better decisions because you've gotten your financial house in order. So that is the key. Awesome. Okay, that's all built up. Then I'm going to do setting spray. Did I get everything? I did. Okay. Then we'll go to lips and we'll be done. Okay, and while we're spraying, I'm letting that spray, I'm going to go in with my perfume today. I think this is a perfume. I don't know. They name them all fancy things. This is the Dossier Floral Marshmallow. Oh gosh, it smells so good. Okay, and so excellent. Smells like marshmallow and a little bit of rose. I don't know what floral it sounds like. It smells like. I'm not a floral person, but don't inhale it. Okay. For lips, I'm going to go in with this Revie Beauty in Fig. Really pretty lip liner. It's very long lasting. But I hope that helped you today to really think about those 4 topics she talked about at the beginning are really your baseline. It's really, people say, where do I start? And I always talk about start looking at your credit cards, that kind of stuff. But once you're done with that, this is where you go. These are the topics you really need to look at. And then that 5th one is you've gotten your base done. Now we move in to the rest of it, to making those decisions to build on top of it, and not just somedaying it. Someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that. No, build it now, get it done, and then you can actually enjoy and have some fun while you're still working. You're not just building towards financial freedom. Now you can still balance it out with that bucket list planning that I've talked about in the past. So hopefully that helped you. Figure it out. I found with this lip liner, I don't really need to look at this. See, I don't really need to set it with the powder like some of the other ones because this one really holds. Plus, I'm not looking for a huge impact because, I'm going to turn my eyelash curler on too. That is what's missing. I'm going to go in with this Color Fetish Hydrating Lip Stain. Have you noticed that a lot of these makeup companies have gone very sexual with their I think like NARS started it, and then I don't know. So and I just like to do a little bit of it because I don't want this to be super overpowering. The lip stain that I tried recently that was really good that I've heard no one talk about, and I don't have it here unfortunately, but is the Urban Decay. It looks like a regular lip balm, but my gosh, that is a good lip balm. It is really nice. It's very hydrating. Didn't make my lips dry at all. And it was so pigmented and it just held on like nobody's business. It's a really good one. So got my eyelash curler here, and then I will let you on your way because we've done everything, I think. So hopefully that helped you. I thought it was a really good, interesting article or interesting set of questions that she did. I might be wrong, but I don't think there was a lot of explanation of the questions. I think it was just the questions, and it was one of those things that's automatic. So you click it and it gives you their answer and why. So it does have explanation in that respect, but that was really interesting idea for an article. So I've got next week kind of all planned out. I'm watching the IPO that just came out for what is that? SpaceX that just came out that seems to be the big thing right now. And do I think you should run out and buy it? Just relax. No, I don't think I shouldn't say no. For some people, it might make sense, but for other people, just hold tight. a lot of your funds might already be bought it. So you might not have to take on that risk, which is nice. But yeah, I always say IPOs, there's no rush. Just do your research, rest, relax, see where it's going. You're not going to miss it. It's be fine. So just watch it. Watch the movement, see how it goes. There's a lot of hype on it right now. So that is my one. Don't be distracted by shiny objects yet. Because for most people, IPOs, risk tolerance wise, do not fit. So I'm surprised I actually have some coffee left, but I do. So that is today's look. I think it looks pretty nice. Again, I went overboard with the blush again, but it's just the nature of that blush. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this. Hope this really helped you kind of figure out your baselines, some base questions. Great article from the Wall Street Journal. I give that 2 thumbs up, or not article, but set of questions to get people thinking. And have a wonderful week. Really do. Have a great week. And until next time, stay strong, be safe, be kind to one another, and have a great week, as I said. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.